chance, look at this. He's just being picked apart here. Oh, big shot! Tremendous shots again, simply brilliant.
An absolute cracker here.
That was a beauty.
Oh, he's gone, totally.
What about that? The fight is over. It's sensational style.
He's all over the place, his legs have gone. No, he's done it.
Oh, right hand. Fantastic shot.
Many doors, Barry Morrison there. Your eyes opened a little bit wider when you saw that. Your old title.
Yeah, former British champion at light welterweight. Yeah, there's some great fights coming up in autumn on Sky, and Lenny Dawes is, is a work in progress. He's improving all the time, getting better. And Barry Morrison, in fact, I sparred with Barry Morrison. He covers the fight, short, stocky type guy, and some cracking fights there.
Well, that's at light welterweight. Our next fight at light welterweight as well. Chris Pacy, Soldier Boy they call him, from Bridlington. Looks like a good prospect. Was voted the Army Sportsman of the Year and won his first two fights in impressive style. His opponent, Danny Harding, Manchester lad. Will the home support egg him on?
It's always good to see a couple of youngsters starting out who aren't afraid to take the early test. Both Chris Pacy, the southpaw here in the black and gold, and Danny Harding bring unbeaten statistics into this one. 2 wins apiece. Pacy starting a favourite because of his amateur class, and he's caught your eye already, Jim.
Yeah, I like the look of him. I think it was his second pro fight I saw. And I thought he adapted very quickly to the pro game. Nice professional style. He's patient, doesn't waste punches, doesn't take too many. But early impressions here, this could be a good little match.
That was the performance when he outclassed Peter Allen of Birkenhead in a couple of rounds. But Harding, okay as a professional so far.
Well, the first solid punch just landed by Pacy there. A short straight left from the southpaw stance. Caught Harding flush in the face and just stopped him right in his tracks. And I think he felt that one.
A slightly strange match in that Danny Harding's being brought up as well as a prospect, as Pacy just starts to get the shots going.
Yeah, that's that same left hand again, and I think it's just slightly dented the confidence of Harding. Not looking quite so positive. The first left hand in particular was a real solid shot.
Former ABA featherweight champion Chris Pacy. This up at light welterweight tonight.
Nice little burst there from Harding. He's having to box in the back foot. I think he realises Pacy, he can't match him for power, so he's trying to be cute at long range. He's not doing too badly, but Pacy the one taking the initiative.
Caught there, Chris Pacy. And Danny Harding just trying to move around the ring, poke a little jab. He might have to fiddle his way through if he's going to win.
Yeah, well, I think, as I say, the couple of left hands, I think that's got him thinking he can't take too many chances, so he's changed his tactics and he's boxing well with them. Pacy may be doing a little bit too much posing for a 4-rounder. There's that left hand again. He's maybe just a little bit bomb happy, a couple of bits of success with the left. So, as I say, over the 4-round distance, Pacy wants to be a little bit busier, but he certainly looked the boss in the opening round. That was a solid left hand that just seemed to dent the confidence of Harding a little bit. He changed his tactics round about the end, didn't do too bad a job. That's probably the second one, so every time the left hand landed, it was solid, and it seemed to worry Harding, but he's adapted well to it.
Second of 4, Chris Pacy from Bridlington up on the Yorkshire coast, north of Hull, where he trains, up against Manchester's Danny Harding. There'll be a few locals rooting for him. 3 years older, Harding at 25, both in their 3rd outing and both yet to taste defeat.
Pacy's going to have to be careful he doesn't become frustrated with the change of tactics from Harding. He's just keeping that little half step out of Harding's way, trying to cause Pacy to reach with the punches. So he's going to have to show the patience, but he usually has a fair amount of that. That's better.
Yeah, good straight left hand, and again he looks for it. Chris Pacy, plenty of experience as an amateur.
See, Pacy is forcing Harding to lead now and countering. He's coming forward, but he's countering. He's putting Harding into a situation where he has to throw something. And he's countering well, although a little bit sloppy defence. Sloppy again there.
Yep. Hands low, got caught there, Chris Pacy. No stoppages on Harding's record, so the power you would feel with Pacy, despite him being the lighter man. That's a good left hand. That was on the counter as Harding came in.
Yeah, every time he's landed cleanly with the left hand, he has Harding in trouble. Just careless now and again with his own defences. Maybe just too intent in knocking out with one punch. But apart from that, things are going well.
Stocky and strong looking southpaw with big arms, Chris Pacy. Just occasionally being beaten to the punch.
Yeah, in the way in, he's been caught a little bit too often in the way in. There's not a lot to split punches landed this round. It's probably the higher quality shots maybe from Pacy, but I tell you, he's been taking a few on the way in. So, not much to split them in this round as far as punches landed concerned.
A touch loose defensively, Pacy, but Harding with blood to the nose, possibly from one of those left hands. Joe Pennington running the corner, Frank Hopkins in there as well.
Got to move from that left. He's setting himself up that left. You've got to dodge that left. Yeah. You can see it coming. It's fucking long. No.
You've got to move from the left hand. That's about right.
Yeah, that's about right. And he's saying you can see him loading it up, which is true. He's becoming a little bit predictable in the second round and vulnerable as he comes forward, caught several times as we're seeing here. So I thought Harding at least deserved a share of that round, although Pacy's punching was probably of a better quality, and that was a good left hand again. He's just maybe a little bit too intent in getting that punch home. Maybe a bit more variety, maybe wants to loosen up a little bit. Too intent in landing the big punches maybe.
4 months as a pro for Chris Pacy, who turned in May at the York Hall Bethnal Green when he floored and beat Billy Smith on points. Smith a journeyman, but always tough. Then came Peter Allen, more spectacular. Now for Danny Harding, and I suppose a bit tougher, Jim.
Yeah, this is a tougher match for Pacy. Harding knows what he's doing. He was warned a couple of times with solid punches in the opening round. He's changed tactics, he's been boxing nicely. So now and again, a couple of signs of frustration in Pacy's work. But he's still thinking, still trying to find a way to get close without being caught.
Harding didn't have the luxury of a good amateur pedigree, but points wins over Gavin Deegan and Neil McQuaid this year. Good start for himself, and he won't want to lose that unbeaten record.
Well, Pacy's the southpaw here, but he hasn't really used it to his advantage. I think Harding is at the better of the long-range jabs. And that's the good left hand again. Definitely higher quality punching again coming from Pacy.
And the edge in power you sense from ringside as well for Chris Pacy. Just looked at his corner there, Harding. I mean, he's boxing to tactics. But can he keep this up?
Nice punches as Harding came forward, and he took one in return, but again, his were the better punches.
And again from Harding, it's been a bit like that, 2-1 every time. That's better from the Manchester boy. Swelling as well, just under the right eye of Chris Pacy, evidence that he's getting caught.
Yeah, but when he's about to throw his own punches, he seems at the most vulnerable. He's always struggled to pin Harding down, but he's always been forcing. I think, again, this is another round difficult to separate them when punches landed, but I've liked the quality of Pacy's punches a little bit more. Although, certainly far from dominating this one, struggling a bit, actually.
You said when he fought Peter Allen, Jim, he worked him out quickly, his opponent. Hasn't quite been the same tonight.
No, but I think Harding is a higher caliber, giving him lots of problems.
Probably edging the rounds. Referee Steve Gray will decide.
At times he's been frustrated by the tactics of Harding. I mean, this is another situation, I know I've said it so often about the 4-round distance there, you don't really have time. I mean, panic can set in if you don't get off to a good start and you start making a lot of mistakes you wouldn't make otherwise. But he's caught too often as he comes forward, Pacy. Harding's boxing well.
You can see there that Harding's thrown more, but the quality almost double on the success ratio there for Chris Pacy. Final session. Joe Pennington just giving some advice to Danny Harding, who's boxed well and to a plan, but maybe the technical ability of Chris Pacy and the stronger shots as well, the difference.
See, I think the fact that Harding was stung a couple of times, he's really concentrating, he knows he can't afford to make mistakes, so he maybe has a little bit more sharpness than he normally does. If you're worried about the other guy's power, then it adds a little bit of sharpness to your performance, and I think Pacy has always struggled with that.
He certainly landed punches, Danny Harding. First minute of this final round, and Chris Pacy just trying to get the jab going. Hasn't really used that as a weapon tonight.
Not usually at a southpaw, you're looking for him to use that to his advantage, but it's been quite the opposite. I think it's Harding who's caused all the long-range problems. Pacy has only been effective when he gets up close with the left hand. But struggling again this round to find the range. A couple of good punches there, though.
Voted Sportsman of the Year in 2004 for the British Army, nicknamed Soldier Boy. Chris Pacy, bit of publicity behind him. He's the win here. That's the jab.
See, I think when you're not boxing smoothly, when you're having to force things, you tire a little bit. And I think some of the sloppy moves from Pacy is just the fact he's forcing everything. It's not flowing tonight. See, and he's caught again.
Yeah, head rock back there of Chris Pacy. I'm sure Stephen Smith will be watching. He was pretty tight on his own defence, Smith, when he was fighting, and they might have to work on that, Jim.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the 4-round distance. Maybe it would have suited Harding because there's a bit more confidence in his boxing here. He's still on the back foot. Pace is still forcing, but struggling to find the range with anything decent.
Good effort this from Danny Harding, and he's wobbled Chris Pacy. How about this late on?
Well, it just shows you that the brain's over the brawn, if you like, because he was a bit worried about the power early on, but he's the one landing the solid punches now. I think Pace is struggling with the pace, if you forgive the pun. So maybe if it had been a 6-rounder, Harding would have been the happier of the two. Good last round from Harding.
Yeah, very good finish from Danny Harding, and he's got it! He's got it! Well, well, well! Chris Pacy is beaten for the first time, and that is some win for Danny Harding, but you're shaking your head, Jim.
No, man, I can't argue with that, because I said at the end of a couple of rounds, on punches landed, there was hardly anything to split between the two, and he had a tremendous... The only clear-cut round of the whole fight was probably the last round, and Harding definitely won that. I do not grudge his victory. I had it the other way by 1 point, just because I preferred the quality of Pacy's punching in the first 3 rounds. But every round was close, and as I said, difficult to split on punches landed. But in the last round, I mean, this was tremendous stuff from Harding. Almost scored a knockdown there. So can't argue with that verdict. Don't agree with it, but I can't argue with it.
Frank Maloney was shaking his head. You can see the volume from Harding, but the success on the computer to Pacy didn't get the decision. That's what matters. Good win for Danny Harding, 3 out of 3, and an upset.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the referee has scored the contest. Chris Pacy, 38 points. Danny Harding, 39 points. The winner, Danny Harding. And gentlemen, please show your appreciations. Chris Pacy!
Well, Johnny and Ricky still with me here. Was that a shock there, Pacy losing?
It was a close fight, but he definitely made hard work of it. I had Pacy just nipping it, but he needed just to tighten up that defence a little bit. He kept making silly mistakes, kept getting picked off with silly little shots, but yeah, I think Pacy will feel a little hard done by, but he could have done something about it. I think he struggled a bit. He made heavy weather of it, I think.
They were arguing afterwards. Were they justified in that, do you think?
They were justified. I think they had big plans for Pacy, but unfortunately, hopefully he'll learn by his mistakes. It's one of those things. It's going to happen eventually, but it's going to happen, and he just he let it slip away from him. He just slipped through his fingers. He could have had it, had no respect for his opponent, kept rushing into him, getting picked off, walking onto the shots. What did he expect?
Just a recap on the main headline this evening. Jamie Moore has held on to his British light middleweight title, a brutal fight, after which Matthew Macklin was taken to hospital after a 10th round knockout. We can get an update on how he's doing. As we mentioned, he was taken to hospital. Adam Smith can bring us more. Adam.
Yeah, it's a more positive prognosis, Dave. I've spoken to Billy Graham, the trainer, and Kerry Kayes, his conditioner. Matthew's up and talking in hospital. He's sitting up and cracking a couple of jokes, I think, which is fantastic. The doctors say that he is suffering from dehydration and that he will be kept in for a while for observation. But that's good. And a little postscript as well. Jamie Moore, who we've just bumped into backstage, obviously bruised around the ribs very much, but very happy. He's cancelled his after-fight party because he wants wants to go and see Matthew in hospital, and I think that shows the respect between the pair of them, which is just going to grow and grow.
Well, it sounds like good news, Ricky.
Yeah, that's very positive. That it's you know, it's never nice to see a boxer, you know, hit the canvas like that, let alone one of your friends. But you know, Jamie Moore, you know, full credit to him. You know, a class actor, you know, inside the ring and outside the ring. You know, going to the hospital. You know, he's you know, a true champion, and you know, proud to say both of them are my friends, really.
Hey, listen, on a positive note, you've got lots to look forward to over the coming months. What are your plans? We saw you in the gym the other day, training just starting to get underway again. Yeah,
I'm just ticking over. I'm in the gym, you know, 4 or 5 days a week. Not doing anything too strenuous because my fight's still like 16, 15 weeks away. So I'll start to up my training.
This is a Rango, yeah?
Yeah, 1 year Rango, moving back down to challenge for my old title, my IBF light welterweight title. So hopefully that'll be my 4th world title, you know, in consecutive fights, really, you know. So it's a massive fight.
Hey, we've got a bit of a treat for you because I know you haven't seen any video of him yet. So this is the man you're going to be fighting in January. Arango on the left-hand side of your picture there, taking on Nufel Benrabah. This was his last fight. Initial views on how he looks and the style of him.
Yeah, he looks very muscular, stocky. Has a bit of a look of a mini Mike Tyson, you know, to me. Just briefly, it looks like everything's a hook. So it's going to not be another dull affair, I think, you know, which is Ricky Hatton Street, really. I think there's only one way that fight can go. Looks like he can be outboxed a little bit. You know, this Benrabah's outspeeding him a touch here, so... yeah, I mean, styles make fights, and his style and my style should make for the...
Beyond that, Jose Luis Castillo is everybody talking about. When would that happen?
Well, obviously, should have beat your man Urango here, then I think, you know, that would maybe be the June time, really. And Jose Luis Castillo, as you know, is a pound-for-pounder, so that would be absolutely fantastic. I don't want to look past this fella because he looks a dangerous, stocky, big puncher, you know, but... yeah, I mean, those are the, you know, I think I'm in the pound-for-pound rankings at about 7 at the minute now, and I think he's at 5, you know, so that would get me another couple of notches up the ladder, so, you know, super stuff.
Hey, Ricky, thanks for your company today. Johnny, we'll see you again very, very soon. Lots more action coming your way. Friday fight night is this. Shafiwa Munwai against Lee Haskins, who's moving up a weight. Next Friday, 10 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the green corner, in the yellow corner.
Friday Fight Night, in association with StanzPoker.com.